So I want to talk about appointment setting. I just want to, for a moment, and we'll get back on the presentation. The next thing I really want to focus on is the market conditions, the pricing, the CMA, different things like that. And we may get to that this week, if not for sure by next week. But I just want to point out that whenever I've listed these up here, these three words for a long time, and I've put up prospecting, present, and close, or the close, right? And I often will ask people, which one of the three is most important? And especially when I'm maybe in a group of brand new licensees, I used to do this when I was at Stringham, and I would talk about these three things, and you'd hear people say, well, wait, if you can't close, it doesn't matter if you can prospect or present, and if you can't, if you don't prospect, well, you never get a chance to present. So people say, I think this one's better, that one's better. And there's no question that all three of them are very, very important. I just want to point out again that the presentation is what, I believe, inspires you to be a better prospector. And a great presentation, what makes closing so much easier, is the fact that you gave a great presentation. So there's no question that the nucleus of this business is your ability to present. But there's also the reality that you have to be able to close, and there's the reality you have to be able to prospect, and meaning that more specifically, your ability to set appointments. There's some key things in prospecting that I watch people do consistently, and oftentimes it's whether I'm talking to an experienced agent or a new licensee. They seem to do this. It's almost like the agent who hasn't been in the business too long just keeps doing it. It's almost like once the agent gets to know him so much, they stop doing these things. And then if they don't know enough, they aren't doing these things. So there's like this middle ground. So the thing I want to point out is just a couple of skill sets that I believe would have a profound impact of when you are prospecting. And it doesn't matter whether it's Rick calling recruits, it doesn't matter whether it's you're calling a borrower at Pete, it doesn't matter whether it's you calling a for sale by owner, an expired listing, a just listed, a just sold. But if I pointed out just these particular sources, and if I'm talking about prospecting in general, I look at sourcing. I would talk about doing just listed, just sold, and just, I think you know, but again, just listed means you're calling around a particular neighborhood where all the homes have sold. And then if you look at, I did the opposite there. If a home was just listed, and then you're going to call around that particular neighborhood or knock the doors. And the same thing with the just solds is that then if the home is just sold, you're going to call around that neighborhood. And I'm certain you guys know what for sale by owners are. And I'm certain you probably know what an expired listing is. And boy, I'll tell you, one of the best things I've seen right now is going and door knocking old expireds. I'm fascinated as to how good that is right now. If I took just those four, and there's other sources, of course, like your sphere of influence, and your past clients, which of course are your sphere of influence. And if I was to look at all those things, and if I was to look at web leads and buyer calls and everything else, but there's so many sources. If you go back to what even a lot of those guys talked about, where Jonah at one point, as an example yesterday, when I met him, his whole sourcing of business was simply his short sales, and now so much of it is his sphere. But I just want to point out that the skill sets are necessary, or the same in each one of these. But here's the deal. The more immediate the business, the higher the skill sets need to be. So I'll have people who come to me and say, well, I called it for sale by owner. Well, your skill sets need to be very, very high calling for sale by owner. The reason it is because they're like on their front yard waving a flag going, hey, man, I want to sell my house. And so what you know about these ones that are circled in blue is that what I consider them to be is immediate business, meaning you list the home, boom. I mean, you can list it right then and there, and they're ready to sell their house. Whereas calling it just listed or just sold, you may find people who want to do something immediately, but when you call it just listed or just sold or knock on the doors of any of these same sources, Well, you don't know for sure. You don't know at that moment when you're calling. Now, there's a lot of different systems and predictabilities that people are trying to come up with, but as a general statement, gang, you don't know. And so oftentimes just listed and just sold is considered to be future business. However, I've realized over the years that if you do enough of them, you'll have immediate business. The other thing is that I want you to think about this. How much less competition there is versus how much competition there is here. So not only do you have to be great at setting appointments, you have to have an exceptional presentation. And if you don't, because the competition is so much higher, it's unlikely that you're going to get the deal. So the thing that I want to point out to everybody is, look, if I was to ask about what I consider to be the quality lead source, there's no question, and where my personal skill sets are, if I'm looking at quality, I would probably tell you it's for sell by owners and expireds. I really would, because I'm capable of competing in that arena at the highest level. I had an 87% closing ratio. I mean, if I went on 10 listings, I took 8.7 of them. Imagine that, right? And that's possible for any of you in here. What I point that out is that the quality may have been higher, and we're talking just about the sources right now, right? We're talking about the quality of the sources. So if the quality of a just listed or a just sold is less than, what do you think about it, is less than a FSBO and expired, and the reason it's a lesser quality is because, well, you don't know for sure if they want to sell. You don't know for sure if they want to do something. But here's the deal. If the quality is down, then I know this seems simple, but meaning that the quantity has to go up, meaning the number of contacts you make. If you're going to call just listed and just sold, so when I was in the business, my first year or so, I sold 33 homes, all right? When I sold 33 homes, I was making 100 contacts a day. I really was. Now, not every day. I wasn't perfect in my discipline. But man, there were many days where I made 100 contacts. And you know what's interesting, as I talk about all the time, at that time, it would take me anywhere, it just depends on what I was doing and who I was calling, but anywhere between, I'm going to say 4 to 6 hours. But I'd make 100 contacts of just listed, just sold. But so often it would be like this, Jeff. This is what would happen. This is true. I still remember this one out in Hoffman Heights. At Hoffman Heights. I remember calling Hoffman Heights. And I had taken a listing. I thought, well, I'll call around. So I called around, and I remember, ring, ring. The lady answers, and I say, hi, I'm calling about your, calling because, why am I calling Jeff? I can't remember why I called her. Just kidding. Thank you. I'm like, got FSBO in my brain. But I'm calling her, and I say, hey, this is George Morris. We just listed a home for sale over on Primrose, or on, I don't remember what street it was, but we'll say Logan Avenue. And I was wondering if you had any plans on moving soon in the near future, or when do you plan on moving? Actually, I know I asked when do you plan on moving on that one because that's what she said. I said, when do you plan on moving? And she said, there's a long pause, and she said, who told you we were moving?
Nice.
And it taught me a great lesson. And I said, well, no one. I just listed a home just on the next street over, which it was. It was just the next street over. And she said, it is so crazy you're calling me. She's like, I just inherited my grandmother's home, and we just made the decision last night that we are going to sell. So I came over later that evening, same day, and I went over and we listed that home, and then the next day they took me over to their other home, their grandmother's home on Downington Avenue, and I sold that home in Sugar House, and then we took the combined earnings of those two homes, and then we went over and I helped them buy a 300. At that time, for me, that was a big, big deal. $350,000 home because of the equity that they had at that point and what they were able to do. And still today, there are people who will call me, and I met them through Just Listed, Just Sold. So my encouragement for you, any of you, is that just take a step back. And some of you are getting so frustrated by calling. You're talking about the highest level of skill set. You're talking about competing with the Justin Udys. You're talking about competing with the Brian Noels. Doesn't mean you can't. I'm not saying you can't. I just want to put in perspective not only are you competing with the highest skill sets, but you're competing with also the most and the largest prostitution ring in Utah, which is people with their commissions. It's true. I mean, seriously. I mean, because they will do anything just to get the listing. So if I want to make sure, it doesn't mean you shouldn't call. Man, if you want to take it on, you take it on. You want to learn to battle in that arena, you battle in it. But I'm here to tell you that you're talking about the most competitive in skill set and commission ring that is known in the real estate industry. And so some of you are like hitting your head against the wall going, why isn't this working? I can tell you why. Because you're not a great salesperson. And since you're not a great salesperson yet, you're only going to be able to compete because of your commissions. And guess what? Someone else will beat you with their commissions. They just will. They will. Because commission battles never win. It'd be like Nordstrom trying to compete with Walmart. That's what we'd be talking about. And it's not going to happen. So you've got to make sure that when you're looking at your sourcing, that, remember, yesterday I talked about this, just what? Less than 3% of the market is upside down. 97% of the market today can sell their house and walk away with it. Walk away with probably a little money in their pocket. 97%. Meaning that every person you call in the just listed, just sold have the capacity to sell. So I just want to put in perspective that maybe it's not 100 contacts, but it needs to probably be like 50 of just listed, just sold. But here's some fun things. Here's some stats. 100 calls, we're going to do just listed, just sold, 100 calls will equal 5 good leads. And out of those 5 good leads, you will set and attend 1 appointment. Now, what do you think the closing ratio is for an appointment that you attend? That's qualified. There's probably no competition. If there is, there's maybe one other agent. What do you think the percentage of your close ratio would be if you weren't competing with anybody else and you found this client on your own?
It's almost 100%.
Yeah, I would say it's almost 100%. I'm going to give you 80%, right? I'm going to keep it still low, but Joe, I believe it is nearly 100%.
It happened for me last month.
Right. 80% or higher. It's the quickest way to get your ratio up.
100 people you're talking to?
Yes. 100 people.
Calls.
100 people. Sorry, thank you. Yeah, sorry.
That's about 250 calls.
Now, exactly, Jeff. I mean, it'd be like, I remember there's not very many things that affected, from the technology standpoint, there's very few things that I would sit there and go, oh man, that changed my whole world when I got that. I mean, the MLS, I guess, I was there when they were still using the book. I mean, that was pretty revolutionary, all right? But when I got a dialer, it changed everything. I mean, I can't even imagine anyone in this business today not spending $100, maybe $125 a month, and not have a dialer. I can't even fathom it. I mean, with the screening of all the numbers, we have the cold directory, right? If you don't know what that is, get hold of one of the brokers, but the cold directory. And do you realize that I just spent $20,000? I wrote a check for $20,000 so that you could get cell phones. $20,000 is what that cost me. So you guys had cell phones in that system. And so I just can't imagine not figuring out making sure that happens. So, Joe, like you said, yes, 250 calls, but man, with a dialer, you'll average in between 15 to 20, sometimes as high as 25. But let's just say you're going to average about 20 contacts an hour if you'll use a dialer. If you use a dialer. If you don't use a dialer, do you know how many it is?
10.
Yeah, I was going to say 8 to 10. So just consider how important that little $100 that you'll spend. Whether you use Arch Telecom, Mojo, Phone Burner, I don't know, maybe I'm missing any of them.
Red X has you.
Oh, did Red X come out with one? Okay, yeah. I mean, that there's nothing that has impacted my career in the last 10 years more than a dialer. I cannot imagine being in this business without a dialer. I mean, it's like rolling around with a flat tire and thinking, oh, it's no big deal. I'll fix it later. You got to invest. If you're going to make the commitment to make the calls, make it easy. I'll tell you, one of the best things, I had no idea what a dialer would do, but a dialer changed my whole mindset. Because as I was sitting there going, this sucks. I don't want to do this. Right, you know, this is horrible. I can't stand doing this thing. I can't stand doing this. You flip on the switch in so many words with your dialer, and you're going. You're going.
Don't be the dumping.
Right. So, remember, quantity has to go up because your quality, in so many words, goes down. Not the quality of the call, but the quality of the source. The quality of the source. Whether it be 50 to 100 contacts, but think about this. If you did that, if you made 200, let's just say you made 250 contacts a week, is it conceivable that you do one deal a week from that? Not even a question. Not even a question. It's just not even questionable. Which, just for perspective, remember, a deal a week is 50 deals, which would equal $300,000 in income. That's what will happen. But that's only if you did that. So, a couple other key things I want to point out. Any thoughts on that?
I just have a quick question while you here. What's a good dialer that has email
Mojo's always been great, but it sounds like there's even another Mojo. I like Mojo, but if I was calling on for sale by owners and expires, and I know Red X's system is really good about downloading the call directory into it. So, but I would just do a little research. But I know Mojo's great. It's a good one. Okay.
What's your thoughts on making phone calls versus knocking on doors?
So now what's going to happen is the quantity is going to go down, but you know what? The quality of the actual contacts are going to go way up, right? So when you're seeing the person face to face, although you may not get as many contacts, the quality of the contact is so much fiercely better that you can reduce it. So again, if you just said, I like controllables. Like if you said, I'm going to knock 50 doors a day, you change your life. I mean, Joe, what was your story last month? You took how many listings?
4 listings.
And was it? I can't remember if it was from door knocking or.
2 were SOI, 2 were just listed, just sold. Where 1 was physical, 1 was just listed, just sold.
And did you door knock those or call them?
All.
Okay.
And it was about those numbers.
Yeah. So I think you can almost, so many words. I think you can cut your numbers in half if you door knock, meaning in the amount of people you see, because your efficiencies will raise so higher because of the interaction with the other individual.
I did have 1 year. I forget how much I made that year, but I did make $40,000 because of knocking doors.
I made a lot of money from knocking. My very first listing on Berkeley Avenue, the first listing ever in my life, was the knocking of a FSBO, and it was my first listing. So, louder? Me louder?
Yeah, this is loud.
Wow, I'm impressed. Okay.
Do you ever leave voicemails?
I do not leave voicemails.
You do flyers when you're knocking.
Yeah, I'll leave my card. I'll leave, hey, I may have a buyer in for your home. And so I'll go through that part of it, yes. Are you not able to hear them or you're not able to hear me? You can't hear me?
That's like an insult.
It's loud. It's getting.
Interesting.
Get back.
I was going to say, I have rarely had someone tell me they cannot hear me. It's usually this.
Yeah.
Okay?
I think this has been changed for something that's never been.
It used to be up here,
It's cool, I know.
so it's back there now. It's different. So
Okay.
it's interesting.
Okay?
No,
Okay.
that's
All right.
right.
So, I can talk louder, I promise. All right, so just a couple of skill sets that I want to talk about. You put tissue around that? You want to put tissue around it? Or did that work last time? I thought that worked, didn't it?
That's been done.
We're almost
Oh, it
done.
does? Okay. All right. So from a skill set standpoint, I just want to role play what I think a great call would look like on Just Listed, Just Sold. Can I just do that with you really quick?
Yeah, can you role play with me? Can
She
you
want-
role play
Yeah.
with me?
Yeah, like role play the you like to where you're the client,
Yes.
okay, or potential client,
Yeah. Or
Okay.
I can be the agent and you can hit me.
okay.
She's
Okay.
great.
She is great. How about this? I'm gonna do one and then you do one.
Okay.
Love it.
Deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's keep it
Okay. Yeah, come up front.
Be loud, Luke.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna score this.
So I follow the book pretty closely.
This is for just this that you're doing.
So just real quick, when I go outdoor knocking, I've done that with Cheryl. When I've door knocked, my general statement is, hey, how are you doing? Great. We're real estate agents in the area. We're lots of buyers and sellers in the area, and we were wondering if you had any plans on moving sooner in the near future. That's my opening line when I'm at a door. Okay, so I'm an agent. We work with lots of buyers and sellers in the area. We were just knocking your neighborhood to see if you had any plans on moving soon in the near future, or if there was any way we could help you. I mean, I'm, Gerald, we've talked about this. I mean, it's to where I'm pretty low key when I'm door knocking. Just for the record, today, I mean, today is a good day for me. I'm going to make $20,000. It's a good day. You want to know why? Because I went and door knocked and we're closing that $1 million home today at 11:30.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, well, that was a pretty good day of door knocking. I mean, just for the record,
It's worth a couple hours.
I mean, it wasn't even an hour.
Yeah.
I only knocked on, and what's crazy is we knocked on 5 doors and 2 of the people were selling. And these were $1 million homes. So I just want to make sure you recognize that it's not like I'm talking about some fantasy. I mean, I just did it only, when did we do that, Cheryl? October-ish? It was fall. It was the fall because it was getting a little chilly. I think it was September, October, right in there.
We lost those 2 agents.
Yeah, we lost those 2 agents. Yes, I do remember that.
He did.
And do I think every door knock's going to work? I didn't suggest that. But if I took a week of door knocking and I made $20,000 every time I door knock, or every week I door knock, it's not a bad deal. Or if I made $10,000 every time I door knock for the week, it's not complicated.
You knock on an Ochre Shadows or a typical neighborhood, how do you dress? Do you dress like that?
Yeah. Oh yes. And the reason I do is because I want them to feel safe. If I don't dress like this, they're not going to feel like they're going to be like, who are you and what do you want, kind of thing. So I don't change it at all. And I really like to put the name tag on. And then the very first thing I'm doing is here's a card. So yep, here's my card. Okay.
One thing too that I found last month, especially in this market, because I was telling the truth, is hey, we just sold a home and we still have a lot of buyers in the area looking for homes. Are you plan on moving?
Right,
soon?
absolutely.
And they totally
Love
get
it.
into that. I was like, oh,
Well, what does it sell for? What's the price per square footage? Well, yeah, absolutely.
I know you're not talking about follow-up, but one day I was knocking on homes and the lady answered, they own Henry's Dry Cleaning. In fact, their hot tub had the logo of Henry's Dry
Oh
Cleaning.
wow.
She said, please come back in 2 months, I do need to sell. I was checking, I didn't do the follow-up, and 2.5 months later, there was a potential signing.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Well, you go back to this. Remember, I said one set. How many good leads? So let's just say the one of the 5 is this appointment. So 4 solid leads, like hey, call me, right? Legitimately. 2 doors down on this other house, by the way, I was talking to the guy who owned it. I saw him at a baseball game because he was renting this house to another couple. And now that you're bringing that up, I mean, then I saw her. I was over at the Cottonwood Club. And she was the head of the ladies' organization who was selling this house, and she remembered my name, and she said, "Hey, George." And then I asked Greg at this baseball game, just this baseball practice, little tryout thing I was just at a month or 2 ago. I said, "What happened?" He goes, "Yeah, I sold that." I'm like, "What are you doing?" I'm like a normal agent.
Can
Okay.
I tell one more story?
Yeah.
This was in follow-up also. I was knocking on doors and the lady said, my husband's a lot older than me. Nobody's happy that I'm married to him. He's gonna die soon. Will you please call me every 3 weeks? Because when he dies, that was so awkward. Is he dead yet? Is he dead yet? And sometimes he would answer the phone. I'm like,
You're alive.
is Jeff there? They got the wrong number. Okay, still alive.
I love it.
Oh
Awesome.
my gosh.
Awesome. Okay, so again, when I go out on the door, it's knock knock. They answer, I say, hello, my name is George Morris, I'm with Century 21. I work with a ton of buyers and sellers in the area, and we were just knocking your neighborhood, and I was wondering if you had any plans on moving sooner in the near future. That's my opening line. Cheryl's been there with me, she's seen it.
He makes it look so easy. And
Well,
I love him.
Well, we just have a normal conversation. We just were normal, okay? So even in this, when we talk on the phone, it's not. I mean, it'll be different because I don't say the part of the open line. So here we go. So ring ring. You say you're going to be the client, right?
Oh, okay.
All right.
So this is on the phone?
This is on the. Well, did you want it in person?
Sure, because I do a lot of time now.
Well, I just gave it to you, but okay, go ahead. We'll do door knocking first.
Oh,
Here
on the phone. Doesn't matter. I like to learn both skills.
we- okay, sounds good. All right, here let's do a phone call first.
Okay.
So ring ring.
Hello?
Hello, this is George Morris. Actually, I gotta say this. Do not ask how you're doing. You have not earned the right. If you call me and I don't recognize the number and you ask, "Hey, how are you?" I'm gonna like, "What? Good. What do you need?" Already from the get-go, you're gonna create a separation. Do not ask how you're doing. Stop doing that. I was with an agent just last week, and they go, and I go, "Whoa, what did you say?" And they said, "I always ask, how are you doing?" I said, "Well, that's your first problem. No one cares." I said, "So don't do that." I said, you haven't earned the right to even find out how they're doing. Now, in person, that might be different. But on the phone, do not ask. No, it does not say, "How are you doing?" in any of these scripts. And for some reason, we think, well, it's just being friendly. No, it's not. It breaks rapport, I promise you. You might find the one person who says they're okay with it, meaning that they answer like, "Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you?" Do that to a for sale by owner expired. "Hey, I'm just calling George from Century 21. How are you doing?" It's not going to be, "Well, let me tell you how I'm doing." It's going to be, "Let me tell you how I'm doing. I want you to stop calling me," because that's what's going to happen. Okay? All right. Ring ring.
Hello?
Hello, this is George Morris with Century 21. I'm a real estate agent in the area. And I was just calling because I wanted to find out if you were planning on moving sooner in the near future.
No.
Perfect. Okay, let's just stop there. That's one way. If I don't have a property that I'm calling around, so just do this again. Ring ring.
Hello?
Hello, my name is George Morris with Century 21, and I just recently our company listed a home in your area, and it's got 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and we listed it at $289,900. It is a smoking deal. And I was calling to find out if you know of anybody who'd like to move into our area.
No.
No? Great. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to think about it. Now tell me, when do you plan on moving?
I'm gonna stay here.
Oh, you're going to stay here. That's great. And so how long have you lived at this address?
14 years.
14 years. Well, obviously you love it. That's wonderful. Well, 14 years ago, what made you decide to move into this area?
Just the area is safe for my kid.
It is a wonderful area. You're absolutely correct. Well, that's wonderful. Well, let me ask you, if you were to move, where do you think you might go next?
I like to go to Sandy.
Oh, Sandy. Okay, wonderful. Well, when do you think that might be?
I'm not so sure, but I think I'm gonna die in this home.
You're going to die in this home. Well,
Yes.
don't do that anytime soon. That's the first thing. And then secondarily, let me ask you a question. Right now, how are you using real estate to build your financial future?
What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is, do you have any investments in real estate? Have you invested in real estate? The #1 wealth builder of all Americans is real estate. Aside from your home, how else are you using real estate?
Not so much. I mean, are
Really?
you trying to call it to sell my home?
Well, I'm doing 3 things. One, I'm trying to actually see if you know anybody who'd like to buy the home we have listed. Second, if you're thinking of buying or selling a home, we'd like to do that. And third, I want to help you invest in real estate because I know it's the #1 way to help you improve your financial future. So do you own any real estate besides your home?
Nope.
Really? Okay, interesting. Well, let me ask you a question. If I could show you a way where you could increase your net worth, if you could increase your cash flow on a monthly basis and build for your future, I have to assume you'd want to know about it, right?
Sure, but I'm retired. I don't have income.
So you don't have any income. Okay. So you're retired, and do you own your home currently?
Yes.
You do? Okay. And would you like to invest in real estate?
Too much work for me.
It may be. You know, I don't know. And really all that we're talking about is the possibilities of what could happen, right? So
Yes.
let me ask you a question. If you could increase your net worth even though you've retired, is it something you'd like to do?
Sure.
Okay, wonderful. What I'd like to do is I just work over there in Midvale, just over right where all the glass buildings are by Famous Dave's, our Century 21 office is there. What I'd like to do is have you come in and I'm going to share with you some of the exciting tools and strategies we're using to help people just like you buy a home. And look, if it makes sense, great. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. Either way works. Now, I've got my calendar open. What works better for you, the afternoons or evenings?
Afternoon, but can you come to my home?
You know, what I'd like to do is to be able to show you properties that exist in the marketplace. The second thing I need to do is to make sure that as we move through the process, that I make sure that you can qualify for a home. And so one of the important things we need to do is we need to do that in my office. I want you to have the best experience, and I know that's going to happen in our office. So, what works better for you, the afternoons or evenings?
Afternoon.
Afternoon? Okay, wonderful. I've got tomorrow afternoon or Friday afternoon. What works better for you?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay. 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock?
3.
3? Okay, wonderful. Now, before you come out, there's a couple of questions I'd like to ask you, and then I'm just going to pre-qual. I'll give you the address, and that would be pretty normal for me. Okay, if I really liked you, just one other thing I would add into that, and let's just say it never worked, and you've retired, and you're not moving, and you're not investing, and that's okay. It's no big deal. I'm okay with whatever the answer is. Heavens, I'm going to talk to 100 people today. So, what I'd like to ask you, though, I just feel a wonderful connection with you, and I would love to touch bases with you periodically and update you on market conditions and see if you know of anybody who's thinking of buying or selling real estate in the near future. Would you mind if I did that?
Sure.
Wonderful. All right, let me get your address, make sure I have the right name and number matching up, and your email, and blah, 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 blah. And hey, have a wonderful day, and I'll touch bases with you as the months and years come along.
Great. Thank you.
That would be pretty normal for me. That would be pretty much what I would do. Then it's okay if you say no. I'm going to talk to 99 more. You know, today it's no big deal if you say no and I'm not interested. And even if you hung up on me, okay, next. It's no big deal because I'm going to talk to 100 people, and I'm going to talk to a minimum. Let's go up to this 50. You know, that's interesting. The number of deals you will do in a year will equal the number of deals you'll do in a year will equal the number of contacts you make in a day. And I will bet you, if you could show me you made 50 contacts a day of just listed, just sold, I will bet you'll do 50 deals. If you did that for 240 work days a year, made 50 contacts a day, you will do 50 deals in a year. That is what will happen. But it's not just trying for 1 week and going, I tried that didn't work. I'm talking about figuring this thing out. And that is what will happen if you will try it. It will happen. Because all of you in here are capable of that type of communication. And again, low competition, and good things will happen when we have 100% essentially of the market can sell today. Okay? Any thoughts, questions? Good job. Do you want to do one real quick?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Role play back with me. Do you want this?
No.
No? Okay. Go ahead. And then we got to wrap up.
Okay.
Oh wow. Yeah, we got to wrap. I didn't realize. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Ring ring.
Hello.
Hi, this is Lou with Century 21. I just called to let you know that I just listed the home down the neighborhood. It have 4 bedroom, 3 bath, and this is for $270. Do you know if anyone in your family or your friends that looking to move into the neighborhood?
No, not at this point. No.
No. So can I ask you how long have you been with your home?
Okay. So I would just not use the habit of ask for permission. Just ask.
Okay.
So I wouldn't even say may I ask or can I ask. Just let me ask you. Just so let me ask you. So start with that. Let me ask you.
Let me ask you, how long have you lived in this home?
We've lived here for about what is it? 6 years.
Oh, 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you like the neighborhood?
Oh, we love it. It's a wonderful neighborhood.
So if there's one thing that you could change about your home, what would that be?
Well, I'd like it to be bigger because we've got a lot of kids.
How many kids do you have?
5.
Wow, that's a lot. You're a busy
Yeah.
athlete.
Yes, we are very busy. Yes, busy. Lots of stuff going on all the time.
So, look, George, if I can help you find a bigger home for your kid, where would that be?
Well, we'd like to stay probably close in the same area, Holiday, give or take, you know.
Your Holiday is a wonderful place. So tell me about what would that be for your big home?
Say that again?
Tell me what would you like on your new big home?
Well, we'd like it to have probably 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. You know,
Okay.
3-car garage would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be great, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, I don't think we're ready to do anything right now.
That's perfectly fine. I understand you're not ready, but you know, I just like to share with you right now. There's a lot of homes in the market right now that can meet your requirement. How about I come to your home? Let's say we plan to meet around today, around 3:15. I can show you some of the homes that's available in the market and see if that's something that you and your family would be interested.
Interesting enough, it's actually fairly compelling.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, as I was listening, I'm like, you know, I don't know. I don't think we're probably ready at this point, but you know, I think, but I do appreciate your call.
I understand, you know, sometimes you're not ready, but look, George, I grew up with a big family, and extra room for your family would be great, especially the kid. So let me ask you some more questions and see what is it that you want and see how I can help you get what you want. Tell me more about the bigger home. Like I understand you want more bedroom. Have you talked to your family? Have you asked your
Oh, of course, yeah, they would love to have a bigger home.
Oh, perfect. So what is holding you back from me coming to your home to show you some of the homes that's available that meet your requirements?
Well, I just don't know if we would qualify.
Okay, let me have you talk with our lender, and she can see if you qualify to buy a next home. How does that sound? There's no commitment. You don't have to sign any paperwork with me. I just want to help you see the potential that you can put your family into a bigger home. Would that be great, George?
Oh, that would be great.
Okay, let me have you. What time would work for you if I have the lender call you around 3:30 today? Would that work for you? And then I can follow up after the lender call you.
That would be okay.
Great. I will have the lender call you. Thank
That's
you so
great.
much, George.
Good job. I'm serious. Good job. I mean, you look at the fact is that if you did that, that's 5 leads, right? You know, I mean, so the thing is I would consider that to be a decent lead. I mean, it would be. It'd be a decent lead. So that was good. I actually liked it. My encouragement for you would be is have the script in front of you, because I think that there could be some it would be synchronized much better if you went through the script. But from the standpoint of energy, enthusiasm, and even when you said come over at 3:15, I was like, I almost want to say yes, but I'm like, well, I can't say yes yet. Gotta make sure it's right. But also that's the interesting thing is that in person, how much more compelling that is that when you're in person, you break down those walls so much faster. So good job. You're a bulldog. That's awesome. I love it. Okay, look, I mean, you guys can do this, all right? So let's rock and roll, but we'll keep working on it even tomorrow. We'll do some more on it, but just remember, 97% of the market right now can sell. Go talk to them.
Great job.
Which on which part? On the if it's for investments, I have them come in. If I'm going to sell the very house, I have to go out.
Or you're gonna help
So we
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
personally, you go out.
Right. If it, now, not if it's a rental. If they're living in a home they own now, yeah, absolutely. Yes, because we're working. Yeah, my number one objective Pete, is on buyers to get them to come to the office. If I can get them to come to the office, I know that they're buying forever.
How can I help you?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
awesome.
make sure
Everybody
you
out there, you really want to help him.
Just have them call.
I know we got it.
Good job.
That's exactly what
What's the name that with him?
yes. I haven't get rid of him yet.
Well, hurry up, I've been waiting.
Morning, Monica.
Good morning.
Go bowling with Sam, it'll be awesome.
Ready? So let's get that name for you.
Yes, Sue.
Hey, how are you?
So I got a hold of Katina.